Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing for a moment of silence.
Good morning. I'm Captain Tim Decker, United States Coast Guard Reserve. I've been a teacher at Homestead for nearly 30 years and as a member of the Coast Guard for over 24 years. I continue to serve as the Senior Reserve Officer for the 9th Coast Guard District, which encompasses the entirety of the Great Lakes from Duluth, Minnesota to the St. Lawrence Seaway in upstate New York, where I oversee the operational and administrative readiness of nearly 400 part-time Coast Guard men and women. Monday, November 11th, is Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a day that we, as a country, honor the service and sacrifices of the men and women who have served our nation in one of our 5 armed services during both war and peacetime. Veterans Day was originally observed as Armistice Day in order to commemorate the end of World War I. The armistice, or ceasefire for World War I, took place on the 11th month of the 11th day at the 11th hour. In 1954, Congress amended Armistice Day and renamed it Veterans Day, and it became a day that we honor all veterans who have served this great country. Veterans Day is not to be confused with Memorial Day, which is a day that we honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice to our nation and died defending our principles and values that have made us the greatest nation on earth. Many of you have relatives, neighbors, and others that you know who at one time or another have served in the United States Armed Forces. We have several teachers at Homestead who have served our country. Dr. Price, a graduate of West Point, served as an Army officer. Mr. Lyons in the Army in the 1970s. Mr. McNeil served in the Army National Guard, and Mr. Steverson retired from the Navy as a senior chief. Each one of these individuals made sacrifices of their time and talents to support and defend the principles of democracy. What makes a great society is the willingness of individuals such as these to become part of something bigger than themselves and to look beyond their own desires so that all of you may pursue your desires in a peaceful and stable society free of strife and conflict. Those that choose to serve don't do it for the recognition or praise, but more often see their service to the country as an honor and privilege as they are the guardians of our democratic values and processes. During this upcoming weekend, but especially on Monday, please take time to remember and honor those who have served and continue to serve and thank them for their service to this country. The men and women of our armed forces continue to safeguard our interests both at home and abroad and help to ensure that our democracy will endure for generations to come.
Right now on HHS In Depth, the kids who make up the Homestead FCCLA program are hard at work for another competitive year, but they also run the coffee bar every day and afternoon at Homestead.
Reporter Carly Flanagan gives us an in-depth look at the Club for Book Lovers, Homestead's book club.
Another popular club after school each week is Dungeons & Dragons, and reporter Evan Bauer gets you caught up on what you can expect to see at each gathering.
I'm Ashton Hackman. It's been a busy week in sports. We'll get you caught up on last Friday night's football game and how our cross-country teams did at state. Plus, Caleb Wood is in with a recap of the fall sports season. It's all coming up later on The Locker Report.
And I'm Drew Persinger. We're looking at the chance of some winter weather this weekend. You can find out more about it on the Drew Point.
Those stories and more are coming up next.
HHS In Depth starts right now.
Hello, Homestead. I'm Mackenzie Butz.
And I'm Bridget Quell. Welcome to today's episode of HHS in Depth.
Everyone has seen the coffee bar, and some of you have depended on it for breakfast when you were running late. But do you know who's behind it?
Reporter Cora Shaw gets us caught up with the kids involved with our Family Career Community Leaders of America program, or better known as FCCLA.
You may have noticed the coffee bar that is open outside of the cafeteria every day before and after school. This coffee bar is sponsored by FCCLA, a club that takes part in many fundraisers to raise money for both their meetings and future competitions.
FCCLA stands for Family Career Community Leaders of America, obviously a mouthful, so we just shorten it to FCCLA. It is a national program all throughout the United States that is associated with family consumer science courses.
FCCLA is a club where we do arts and crafts, we volunteer, and second semester we compete at the state competition down in Indy or Muncie, and then if you move on from state, then you can go to nationals, and this year it will be in Washington, D.C.
Students should join FCCLA because it is a great opportunity to do some career exploration, especially if you are not entirely sure what it is that you want to do after high school. We explore a lot of different venues as far as culinary arts, hospitality and tourism, human services, visual arts and design are all different areas that we kind of explore with the competition that we do in the spring.
The club members work hard to earn money from their coffee bar to go towards their springtime competitions.
The coffee bar is open every morning, and then we also this year started opening after school. At the coffee bar we sell coffee, water, chips, Pop-Tarts, and right now we have a lot of seasonal things and a lot of other snacks too. We use the money from the coffee bar to help pay for state competition fees as well as other activities we do in the club.
FCCLA meets every other Thursday after school in room 102 from 2:45 to 3:30. If you are interested in joining, contact Miss Andrag for more information. Reporting for HHS in Depth, I'm Cora Shaw.
Juniors and seniors, the following colleges will be visiting Homestead. If you would like to attend a meeting, you must sign up and get your pass at least one day prior to the visit. Wednesday, November 13th, Indiana Tech.
Students and staff, in honor of veterans on Veterans Day Monday, November 11th, Homestead wants you to turn the halls red, white, and blue. Be sure to include something red, white, and blue in your wardrobe on Monday.
Boys basketball tryouts begin Monday, November 11th. Sophomore through seniors will be held from 3 to 5:30, and the freshmen will try out from 7 to 9 p.m. All players must have their physical and concussion forms turned in to the athletic office before participating.
Artists and writers, do you know what renowned icons Andy Warhol, Truman Capote, Lena Dunham, and Zach Posen have in common with Mrs. Jones? They are all Scholastic Art and Writing Awards recipients. If you are interested in taking a leap of faith to submit your art or writing into a juried competition, then mark your calendars to meet on Wednesday, November 13th after school until 3:15 in room 108. They will discuss the details on how to begin the submission process and what changes there are in the program this year.
Clubs meeting after school today includes the K-Pop Club and the Dungeons & Dragons Club in the Cafeteria Annex until 4:30 p.m. The Improv and Drama Club will meet Monday, November 11th in room 904 from 2:45 to 3:30, and the Model UN Club will meet Tuesday, November 12th from 2:45 to 3:15 in Mrs. Squire's room, room 711.
And now here is reporter Carly Flanagan with a story over the ever-growing after-school gathering for book lovers, the Book Club.
Book Club is a new club that has started this school year, and while it is advised by Mr. Beer, Sydney Little and Skylar Newhouse lead the club.
I wanted a place to read more young adult fiction and read something other than what we read in English class, and read something other than classic literature, and just have more book discussions.
My favorite part about book club is the discussions because we're pretty open-minded, nobody's judgmental, and you can pretty much say whatever you want and be respected.
There are a variety of books that will be read throughout the year. The current one being The Institute, a thriller by Stephen King.
So right now we're reading The Institute by Stephen King, and so far I'm really impressed with it, and I think it's going to be a really good novel. Book club it's a lot of fun. You can hang out with your friends, there are free snacks, you always have a voice, and the books that we read are really good.
If you are thinking about joining book club, then contact Mr. Beer for more information about upcoming meetings. Reporting for HHS in Depth, I'm Carly Flanagan.
The 6A Sectional Football Championship game against Carroll Chargers is tonight at Homestead. Gates will open at 6 p.m. and tickets will be on sale for $6 in the athletic office until noon today. Avoid the long lines and buy them early. Athletic passes and punch cards are not valid during the tournament play, so everyone must buy a ticket. The Spirit Store across from the auxiliary gym will be open tonight before the game from 5 to 6. Enter through door 7 and get to the store. Cash and credit cards are accepted.
Spanish Club members, please hand in your paperwork to Senor Peeper by the end of the day today if you would like to join them at the Community Harvest Food Bank to volunteer later this month.
French Club will have its November meeting on Tuesday, November 12th after school in room 607. Join them for fresh crepes, Thanksgiving crafts, and French cartoons. They will also talk about the French holiday of La Toussaint.
Biomedical Science Club will meet next Wednesday, November 13th. Be sure to first report to the cafeteria at 2:40 for a club photo for the yearbook. They will then move to room 215 at 2:45 until 3:30 as they are hosting speakers Brian Moreno, Margaret Watkins, and Hamna Qureshi from the IU School of Medicine in Fort Wayne. These students are all first-year medical students, with Hamna being a Homestead graduate.
And now here's reporter Evan Bauer with the story over the weekly tabletop role-playing game, Dungeons & Dragons.
Dungeons & Dragons is a role-playing tabletop game where its players craft or participate in fantasy worlds of their own creation through the lives and actions of their characters, with the game having a decent following here at Homestead.
Well, the way I like to describe Dungeons & Dragons to a lot of people who've never played it before is kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book. The table is divided into two groups, the Dungeon Master, or DM for short, and the players. It's the Dungeon Master's job to kind of write the book or narrate the book to the players, who then tell the Dungeon Master what they want to do and roll dice to determine their success. And the Dungeon Master narrates the results. Say, for example, somebody wants to go investigate something, they'll roll a dice to see what, if anything, they see, and I'll narrate the results to them.
Dungeons & Dragons has a lot to offer to its players, with many differing aspects of the game appealing to different kinds of players.
The thing that entrances me the most is this idea of a fantasy world. I've always enjoyed the fantasy genre from a very young age, so that's kind of what drew me in, but the idea that I could make decisions and impact this world and insofar as play this character who's doing these things. While there is combat, I have flocked more towards the role-playing side of things, where I pretend to do certain things or play a certain character and just kind of escape from life and have these fantasy problems. Instead of worrying about a Latin assignment per se, I'm worrying more about, did the guard notice that I pickpocketed this individual?
If you have any worries adjusting to the rule set and jargon of Dungeons & Dragons, feel free to ask a club member for advice or clarification on any element of the game.
Oftentimes they'll help them by pointing in the direction, telling them what some of the jargon is. Like when a Dungeon Master says, for example, roll to attack, they'll kind of immediately look sort of with a panic face for the right dice. And other players will say, oh, it's this one, and they'll point them in the right direction. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. You'll get one, if not many, responses from everybody who's willing to help you.
You can find the Dungeons & Dragons Club at the Media Center on Thursdays and the Cafeteria Annex on Fridays from 2:35 to 4:30, but be wary of the announcements if a date changes. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Evan Bauer.
And don't forget, everyone is invited to attend the Dungeons & Dragons Club after school today in the Cafeteria Annex.
You're watching The Locker Report with Sports Director Ashton Hackman and Sports Reporter Caleb Wood. Your source for Spartan athletics.
Hello Homestead, I'm Ashton Hackman, and it's time for another edition of The Locker Report. We have a lot to get to this week, and we begin with sectional football action. It's Homestead at Noblesville. Game 1, loser goes home, and just a few minutes in, and the Spartans were looking at a tough game. Spartans hold the Millers' lead to just 6 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, Noblesville pulls away up 13-0, but roaring in comes the Spartans. Goody to Archbold for an 18-yard touchdown. Homestead down 13-7 at the half. Both teams went scoreless in the third, but that would soon change as fourth quarter started. Homestead's Ryan Burton gets the team rolling with a rushing touchdown. Homestead takes the lead 14-13. Then, with just minutes left, the Millers take back the lead with a touchdown and 2-point conversion. Homestead's down 21-14. Less than 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Spartans down by 7. Luke Goody connects to Griffin Little. Homestead ties it up 21-21 after Gunnar Fry sets up the extra point. We're going to overtime. Millers unable to get on the board. It was turned over on downs. Spartans now with possession and get within striking distance. Out comes special teams for the field goal attempt. The Spartans, Gunnar Fry with the 24-yard field goal as the Spartans pull off the nail-biter win against Noblesville 24-21. They face their rival Carroll at home in the sectional final. And both boys and girls cross-country teams have finished their seasons with runs at state. Up first were the boys, who have been in action since early June. Ranked among the top 10 teams in the state all year, the team was hoping to place in the top 5. In first for Homestead, senior Jared Neff, 24th with a time of 16:13. Next in was Keegan Stuckey in 31st with a time of 16:18. Also in for Homestead was Donnie McCardle in 63rd and Ethan Bates in 70th. The team placed 6th with just 1 point behind Brownsburg, the best finish in school history. The state champion boys team this year was the Concordia Cadets. Now to the girls race, which looked to be a tough competition. In first for Homestead was Julia Dvorak in 12th with a time of 18:32. Behind her in 21st place was sophomore Mia Faber with 18:14. Both Dvorak and Faber have been named to the All-State Girls Cross Country team. Also in for Homestead was freshman Reagan Albers and senior Angelina Sedlacek. The state champion girls team for the second consecutive year was the Carroll Chargers. Speaking of the Chargers, here is the student section video for tonight's home sectional football game against Carroll.
Sectional championship this Friday at home, See a Blue theme versus Carroll, part 2.
Winning.
We mentioned earlier that the football team won their first sectional game on Friday, and with that win, they remain the only fall sport at Homestead that is still in action. The 2019 season for Spartan Athletics will go down as one of the best in recent Homestead history. 5 sectional titles, 2 regional titles, 4 teams advancing to state, and 1 overall state championship, and it's still not over yet. Here's sports reporter Caleb Wood with a look back at the fall season it was for Homestead Athletics.
The volleyball team ended the regular season with a 19-15 record. They won their sectional final against Columbia City, but they ended up falling to Hamilton Southeastern in regionals. The Homestead boys tennis team finished off their season with a 16-2 record. They came off with several 5-0 wins in the regular season. In postseason action, the team won their 38th consecutive sectional title against Canterbury. They also won a regional title against the Carroll Chargers. The team did not advance to state, however doubles pair Bryant Zitlaw and Tim Steiner made it, facing Jasper in the final round, coming off with the win. In round 2, they would lose to the eventual state champion team Carmel. The boys soccer team ended their season with an 8-12 record, coming off with wins against Northrop, Leo, Northside, and DeKalb. The boys ended their season with the sectional title, defeating New Haven and Huntington North. The Homestead girls soccer team finished off the regular season with a 14-4-1 record. After last year's state runner-up title, the Lady Spartans were hoping to come back with the state title. They won the sectional final against Warsaw, but fell short to McCutcheon after a shootout. The Homestead girls cross-country team had an amazing season. Led by head coach Sarah Wiss, the Lady Spartans made a run in the state final, finishing 9th. Julia Dvorak and Mia Faber were among the top runners. The Homestead boys cross-country team has been in action since early June. Led by head coach Ian Wilson, the Spartans finished off their best season ever with a 6th place finish at state. The team had an amazing season, winning all regular season meets besides the Huntington North Invite. In postseason action, the Spartans finished 2nd at sectionals, regionals, and semi-state. Congratulations, boys, on an outstanding season. Finally, in girls golf, the Lady Spartans were titled the 2019 IHSAA Girls Golf State Champions. Led by head coach Jeff Yale, the team finished the season with sectional and regional titles and an amazing finish at state. The Lady Spartans that played at state were seniors Morgan DeBeja and Olivia Render, junior Megan Yoder, and sophomores Madison DeBeja and Simone Senk. On top of a state title, Morgan DeBeja also received the Mental Attitude Award for this season. Congratulations, ladies, on winning a state championship and having an amazing season. That was a recap of the 2019 fall season for Homestead Spartan Athletics. For the Locker Report, I'm Caleb Wood.
As we transition into the winter sports season, be sure to follow us on social media for Homestead Athletics content you won't find anywhere else. That will wrap up this edition of the Locker Report. For Caleb Wood, I'm Ashton and Caleb. Have a great weekend.
We've had a mild week with temperatures, but what's in store for tonight's football game?
Drew Persinger is in with this weekend's weather forecast.
Hey there, Homestead. I'm Drew Persinger. This is the Drew Point, and We're looking at the chance of some winter weather this weekend, so I'm going to get right to the forecast so we can take a look at when that is. Let's get to it.
It's going to be cloudy tonight with a high temperature of 34 and a low of 26. Then clouds continue into tomorrow with a high of 43 and low of 32. Then on Sunday, we're seeing the chance of a wintry mix with a high of 45 and low of 24.
Well, there you have it, Homestead. That's your forecast for this weekend. And with that snow we're supposed to get on Sunday, I'm sure that's the first of many more winter weather events to come. And I'll be here to tell you when all those are. But until next time, I'm Drew Persinger. See you, Homestead.
Well, that wraps up today's edition of HHS In Depth. I'm Mackenzie Woods.
And I'm Bridget Quell. Thank you for watching today, and be sure to follow us on our social media for behind-the-scenes clips and digital exclusives.
Today we leave you with a video of Homestead's victory last Friday night against Noblesville, created by Caleb Wood.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
And we're set for kickoff here in Noblesville, Indiana. Kick is blocked at the line of scrimmage. Homestead picks it up. That's Donovan Leonard, left hash. 40, pushed out, get the block, get good field position. Throws it deep downfield, caught by Kistler, shy of the 50. Makes a couple men miss, has it past the 50, and he's down. Rogers caught at the 30, right sideline, pushes forward inside the red zone. Goody back to throw, throws across the middle, caught for a touchdown. And that will mark the end of the first half. Archwell will step up, he's returning it. Past the 30, past the 45, jukes a man, 50. Under some pressure, looks downfield, throws across the middle, caught by Little. Burton on first down, powers forward towards the end zone. Yes, Homestead scores. The Millers reclaim the lead. One play left to keep their season alive, have to score a touchdown. Ball is snapped, Goody back to throw. Under pressure, can't find anyone, throws across the middle. Caught, Griffin Little. The kick is up, looks to be good. And it is, we're headed to overtime. It's a fake, the ball is on the ground. The kicker picks it up and he's dropped by Rogers. Ball is snapped, kick is up. Is it good? Yes, Homestead wins. Gunner Fry connects from 24 yards out, and the Spartans advance to face their arch rival Carroll in the sectional finals.